Welcome back, you guys. We have a very interesting build ahead of us tonight. I know there's a lot of you guys that have reached out to me over the last year and just really are interested in having one of these in your possession. We are going to be building a Glock 18C clone. Okay, so before the questions run wild, let's iron those details out. We will not, and I repeat myself, not be creating any fully automatic parts on this slide. We will not be drilling out the back. We will not be doing the hole in the bottom where your auto sear is. That is just not going to happen. That's not what we're after. Customer reached out to me and they said they wanted one. I believe they're after one for their collection. Obviously, it would be something nice to have in the semi-automatic form, so that way it's still a legal pistol, and at the end of the day, it goes in line with everything else that they own with all the other models. So guys, let's talk about it. Let's discuss the work that we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be doing a top window here, like the Glock 18C. It has a larger window, and then it's a smaller window. It's the same window, but it's kind of wider, and then it kind of goes to a small zone, and then it widens back out. It has a nice deep chamfer all the way around. I have gone online and taken several measurements of the slide, looked at several pictures, different variations of it, and really think I have it ironed out to what would be a very similar clone. I believe that unless you have one in hand, you're not going to know the exact measurements of everything. However, visually, I've been working on slides for such a long time. I see things a little bit different. I see spaces, I see chamfers, I see distances between front iron sights and where the barrel locks up. I can visually kind of measure things in my head before we actually build a project, because I do this all the time. So I think we're going to come out pretty nice up here. On the back zone, we're going to end up doing the deep dish that they offer. So they offer a deep dish that's in here, and then there's a deep chamfer on the outside. The chamfer on the back matches the chamfer on the front. We're going to make sure that we miss that plunger hole because we don't want to hit that. So the top is going to be a visual representation of the Glock 18 as close as you could get without actually having one in hand. And of course, I don't have one in hand and or am able to take measurements off of a real one, because it would cost like the amount of a house if you had one of these, because they're extremely hard to find. So much, in fact, that I don't know if there's any transferable ones that have ever actually made it to the States. If there are any, they're probably not going to be for sale anytime soon, and they're probably going to move from individual to individual and not actually be posted online as a purchasable item, because that's just how hard they are. So definitely going to be a cool build. So on the sides, this side we're going to be doing a serial number. We do have a barrel here today that we're going to be porting, and we're going to match the slide to the barrel that we have for the build. So overall, those are going to match each other. And then the last but not least, on the left-hand side, we're going to be doing all the Glock logos that would normally come on the 18C. Now, just so everyone is well aware of this, we are not going down the process of representing that this is a a semi-automatic version of the 18C. This is purely a clone built off of my designs and overall my visual concept from what I found online. So we're not making these and mass producing these. We're not saying this is a Glock OEM slide by any means. Obviously, you guys can see this is not. This is a pure aftermarket slide here. We are just strictly building one for a collector that wants to have one in their collection. So overall, I think it's cool, but I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea that we're out there cranking these out and we're calling these Glocks. They are not a Glock. We are not representing that. So much, in fact, that I do not actually sell products. I only sell services. So there's a little bit different there. Now, the last thing we're going to be doing is we are going to be cutting out some area here, and I have to take a look at my pictures, and I think there's some area that's cut out over here. So on the real one, there's a selector up here. There's a little notch cut out here where the selector is, and there's two little dots. We will be doing that. We will not be punching a hole all the way through the slide. This is a visual representation of the 18, not a functional representation of the 18. So we will not be doing any of the actual millwork going through the slide where the auto sear goes. That's just not going to happen. So things aren't going to be leaving my possession with the ability to drop parts in. It's just not how it's going to be, guys. I'm sorry. I know it seems as though I'm really going overboard to give you the precautionary steps here, but we are talking about a fully automatic clone that people are going to get the idea that this is a fully automatic. It's not. This is the semi-automatic version of a fully automatic Glock. Guys, we have the barrel. So we're going to take and run this barrel down through here. So the barrel's going to go in. We're going to go ahead and mark it right here to match the barrel serial number. So those two are going to match each other like as if it was an 18, so like they came as a set. Then of course, once we have our window cut out here, we're actually going to do those finned cuts on the barrel with the laser. Now, if you look online and you look carefully and closely, you're going to find out that those are not straight down cuts. They're actually cut in at an angle. So I'm going to have to do my homework, and I'm going to have to run some tests on a couple things to make sure that those are cut at the angle, and obviously that they're cut the correct angle and they're facing the correct way. So we have a little bit of work to do there. Of course, I can't get to the barrel work until I have a hole here so I can measure my 4 cuts. But guys, I think what it is it's time to get over to the Tormach 770. Let's go ahead and turn out this precision work on the Tormach, and you know, let's kind of just bring it back. We're going to take a look at it. We will not be doing the coloring on this. The customer, I don't know whether they're going to be doing the coloring or if they're going to send it out and have it like a nitride coated. I'm just not sure. So overall, what we're going to see is all the cut work. We'll see some sandblast, get it cleaned up. We'll bring it back and show you, you know, give you a visual of exactly what it looks like. But that's the place to start. So let's crank out all the work on the Tormach 770. Then we'll get over to the laser. We'll do the barrel. Of course, we're going to bring it back. We'll take a look and see how it came out. All right, guys, let's take a look and see exactly how this came out in the end as our final product. Very pleased with the overall quality of the fit and finish work straight off the Tormach 770. I don't find myself usually spending much time on the cleanup portion of projects because it really just does a nice job. It's one of the reasons why I recommend them overall. You just kind of know what you're gonna get as you start a project. Went and ran that front hole there. Nice chamfer all the way around. That's the only deep chamfer I found. Now the back has a chamfer on it as well, but not quite as deep as the front. Very nice overall. Now let's talk about the back. So the back, we ended up doing a nice step down here. We stayed away from where the plunger hole is right here, okay? So that's pretty close to what I was visioning as the final product. It was a lot of what I was finding online. Obviously, there's only so many pictures that are actually posted online, so you can only go by whatever you find. And the one thing to stay away from is there happens to be a lot of airsoft guns that are on there, and I'm not 100% sure whether those are so-called rendered off the real one or if they're just variations. These were actually drawings that I created based off of the real 18Cs. So that you may find some different variances of what we have here today, but ran a little chamfer on that as well. Really pleased overall. Nice deep dish on the back, weight reduction, and obviously we're going for that visual. Now, the last part of the CNC work we did was the left-hand side. We ended up doing the shave of the two posts that were there, and then of course we simulated where the button would go. Once again, as I stated in the beginning of this video, this is going to be staying as a semi-automatic version. So it's just as close as we could possibly get, still within the boundaries of the law. So we did discuss this a little bit with the customer. I was like, are you sure you want to shave that? You know, because we're not really putting a hole in there. We're not really putting the button in there. But visually, they were after as close as they could get. It'd still be cool even if they took like maybe a button and glued it on here where it didn't, you know, there was no function to it, but the visual would be there. That would be kind of cool as well. So We ended up doing the 2 dots, the single dot, which is obviously notorious on the 18Cs. That's very specific. The right-hand side gets nothing because that's how they're designed. Then we went ahead and did the engravings. Now, these engravings are slightly different than what you would find on a factory Glock. Factory Glocks themselves do it during the process. I'm not sure whether it's a stamping base procedure, some kind of a roll mark maybe. But what I do know is they're not really milled in. And the reason why I say that is because they're not really V-shaped. If you use a cutter to create a pattern, either you get a ball nose, right? So it's either cupped, or you get a V-shaped, which is really a pointed based cutter, or the other option is that you could actually use a single line cutter, which is just a regular end mill. But finding one that would be this small is just probably not going to happen, especially what would be on their line of how many they're putting out. So we obviously use the laser. We're going to get that accuracy and the precision that we're after as close as we could get it. Very cool overall. The Glock, the Austria, and the 19 were all actually lined up off of a 17. So this is the correct placement of these 3. This is the exact correct sizing of those 3. So I actually took those letters, separated them, shrunk them, stretched them to where they exactly were an exact clone of the original, with the exception of the Glock logo itself. We ended up doing what would be more of like a fill-based pattern on that. It's a little bit wider. I'm not 100% sure what they're doing on the coloring. I don't know whether they're going to send it out and get it like black nitride coated, or whether they're going to do some kind of a, maybe just a Cerakote. I went ahead and sandblasted. That's why we don't see any of the cut areas here. That's also why the finish is pretty much the same. And it's also kind of hard to see the chamfer and how beautiful it does come off the Tormach, because once we sandblast, it's more of like that matte finish. And last but not least, we did the serial number on the slide to match the barrel. This is probably a key thing that a lot of you guys are actually after. So we want to match those up. Obviously, this is a 17, and obviously, as I've stated before, this is going to stay in the semi-automatic configuration. However, I think they just kind of wanted to make it look as accurate as we could. I know I was for that. That was one of the things that I wanted to see, was just slide match barrel. It looks like a factory image type thing. Now, the barrel itself was a tricky one, because we had to do that at an angle, because the idea behind here is as the round goes down the barrel, these are tapered. They're actually tapered what would be kind of bottom left, top right, so they're almost like this way. And as the actual projectile would come out, gases would be protruding outward this way, and then of course slide would be going downward. So that's kind of how that works, with a little bit of a reflex there. I think overall it's a really cool design. Obviously it goes smaller, larger, 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 and then the spacing goes smallest, larger, largest. So it's kind of one of those deals where it's a staggering base design, progressively getting larger as we go down. Very cool. Overall, it's a really cool build. I sent a couple messages over to the owner of it, and I said, I think I might make myself one of these. It's just overall, it's just a real beautiful design, something unique and different that you obviously you just don't find because of what it is. And this is probably about the closest you're going to actually get to owning something for a collection that isn't obviously an authentic 18C. So very cool as well, guys. If you are not following the channel, you need to follow the channel. We also have another channel that's coming out that's the quicker, more simplified version of it. It happens to have a lot of the smaller base pattern packages and stuff that we do. You're going to find a lot of those patterns over there if you're curious about having something done. The other channel has a lot of that content. At the end of this video, you will see a link to the other channel. So go over there, subscribe, click that bell, get your notifications turned on. You'll get those emails as the videos come out, so you'll be able to watch that stuff in your free time, give you an idea of exactly what we offer and what we can do for you. And of course, if you just happen to have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave those in the contents of the video below. So leave yourself a little message down there. I'll try to hit you back up. And if it's something that's a little bit more urgent, or you're just curious about maybe a project, feel free to go to the webpage. Okay, at the webpage there is a contacts tab. You can go on there and you can actually just fill out the form, let us know a little bit more about what you want to have done, what your project is, and we'll just kind of move forward with that and see exactly what we can do for you, and try to get your vision out of your head and onto your slide. So very, very cool, guys. One of the other things I want to tell you real quickly here, I'm starting to do more and more Cerakote based patterns. We have some other stuff that we are offering. I have partnered with what would be a local company here. We've done this before in the past, and it kind of really hasn't worked out because of turnaround time. But I have happened to have found a different company that does excellent work, and they have a really quick turnaround time, and they're kind of moving me to the front of the list because of how much content we actually do. So it's one of those opportunities to maybe get some patterns and some stuff that I don't offer, and on the same hand, hopefully we'll be able to see maybe some of that stuff as it comes back towards the end of the video. So we might do the work, send it off, have it done, then it'll ship back to me so I can kind of do that final inspection before you guys get it, and of course we'll put it in the video. So quick turnaround time, opportunity to see some new stuff, and then of course you are seeing some of the stuff that I'm doing. So if you happen to be following me on Instagram and on Facebook, you're going to see some of the battle worn stuff with the gold coats and some other things like that. We are starting to do some ourselves, but some of the more advanced stuff, I am a firm believer in handing it off to the people that know best. And until my education level and process and procedures evolve, that's really what we should be doing. Hopefully next year I'll be offering that all in-house, and it'll be a quick turnaround time as well. But until that happens, I think that we should leave that to the professionals. So guys, with that being said, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them below. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you like the video, click the thumbs up because it helps people find it a little bit better. And guys, I will talk with you on the next one.